Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Rules Committee. Today is January 8th, 2026. We're on the record from 1 to 3. It is now 1:09. We'll start with introductions. Mr. Rivera.
Felix Rivera.
Erin Baldwin-Day.
Jared Gerker.
Daniel Volant.
Anna Brawley.
Christopher Constant. On the phone, we have Ms. Silvers.
Here, thank you.
Hi, thank you. Anyone else? Nope. Okay, good. So the first part of our agenda is going to be recognitions of our branch staff and others above and beyond. So we'll start with Employee of the Quarter. Despite his tardiness, it is my honor to recognize Matthew Hurt as the Employee of the Quarter. Thank you for all of your hard work coming in and diving on this huge project, which is called the Assembly Legal Work. And I've been pushing for this for a few quarters, but it takes a while because we have a lot of great employees who work for this branch. But we just want to thank you for your commitment to the team and your excellence and your service to the legislative branch of the municipality and the municipality as a whole. So congratulations, Mr. Hurt. And like every quarter, our Employee of the Quarter gets, like everyone else in the branch, a trophy they have to build themselves because we are a self-driven organization. So.
Yeah. Whole thing is all shaken up. Nice. Congrats, Matt. Well deserved. Yay.
Surprise. I bet they were wondering why they had to be here. Okay, and next we have the Above and Beyond Awards. And I think I'm going to take the opportunity to start, and then I'm going to ask the Ombudsman to come up and actually describe the why. So our Above and Beyond Awards are going today to our Legislative Service Office and Vice Chair Brawley.
Hey.
Thank you, Chris. I think all of us in this room were involved with the celebrations of Munification, the 50th anniversary of the municipality, but 3 individuals who went definitely above and beyond were Ali, Claire, and Jennifer, and especially organizing all the incredible events. You know, I was involved with the centennial celebration in 2015, and we had a knockout celebration this time with a lot lower expenditure of public funds. So it was great. The community was engaged, and the first Friday Civics Fair at the museum was so good, the museum was wanting to hold more Civics Fairs. So if you would all come up, we actually have a certificate, a mug, and the chair insisted that you each get one of the Munification medallions. Here.
Oh, they just drew.
The certificate.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll have you up front. We'll get you a certificate. That mic is really strong today.
You can just hold it.
Jeff, popping out. We're gonna let you put your slide together.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Claire's.
So special. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome.
All righty, let's squish in.
I'll let it add Claire into the picture.
Yeah, Photoshop request.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
Okay. And now to the business. Welcome, everybody. First Rules Committee meeting of 2026. I don't have a ton of information to report other than we're going to start with a bang. We have our regular meeting next Tuesday, and elections are coming, and we have the ballot questions that must be resolved by the second meeting of this month. It was a quiet holiday, thankfully. Grateful to the snow management teams of the municipality for getting out there. I wish someone would pay the heating bill, though. It's really cold. And otherwise, I'm going to pivot off to the mayor, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Chair Constant, and hello and happy new year to all of you, and congratulations and thank you to Allie, Claire, Jennifer for your work on unification, and Vice Chair Brawley for your vision and work as well. Really appreciate all that you did there. Today, I am with Municipal Attorney Eva Gardner, and I'm going to turn to her to give you an update on some items and a brief briefing.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to just give a kind of preview of a couple of projects that are ongoing coming attractions. So one, the first two items on my list are public safety oriented. So one of them is an ordinance you should be seeing on the addendum for Tuesday's meeting for introduction. And this is part of the ongoing effort to identify where in our legal system, specifically in the public safety realm, there are gaps where there are tools that we should have that we don't have. And so this proposes some limited changes to Title VIII, our penal code, specifically to the sections on indecent exposure and disorderly conduct, to add in some conduct that currently identified, this conduct is happening, there's no response we can make, there's no opportunity for law enforcement to engage. And those engagements can take, different, sometimes you have to criminally enforce, sometimes you can help get that person help if they need it. But our law enforcement officers do need a reason to engage with individuals. So this goal of this is to promote safety in public spaces by kind of making sure that we have appropriate standards of conduct in our municipal code. So you should be seeing that one soon. Then another one is an update. We are pleased to have been working with the state collaboratively on public safety recently. And this is something we had tried to start building those connections a year ago between the criminal division, the state, and our office. And specifically, as you all know, misdemeanors are municipalities' responsibility in Anchorage, and felonies are the state's. And typically, municipal prosecution and the state DA's office are pretty siloed, which isn't ideal. We work better when we work together. So we have been talking to the state and are working on a collaboration to kind of pool some of our resources and just make sure we meet and communicate about public safety, so we can make sure that we're not having things slip through the cracks, or we're not duplicating work, and we really are working together to promote public safety in Anchorage. So probably more to come on that, but just wanted to give you an update that is something underway. And the final update is something that you might see laid on the table you'll see laid on the table on Tuesday evening. Another, would be for the ballot. So it'd be suggesting some limited updates to charter. This is kind of a housekeeping charter measure to do things like, as an example, charter still has a long provision about the management of the Anchorage telephone utility, which the voters in 1998 said, hey, we should sell that. And it was subsequently sold in the next couple of years. But we still have a whole charter section addressing the management of that utility that probably should come out just as a cleanup charter. So if a citizen reads charter, they can know that it's an accurate document. So you'll see that one coming as well.
Any questions? All right. Thank you. Anything else? All right, thank you, Mayor. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. So elections is right around the corner. Random alphabet drawing is on Thursday, the 15th at 10 a.m. at the Election Center. That is where they draw the letters to determine the order that the names go on the ballot. Friday, the 16th at 8 a.m. candidate filing opens. It closes on the 30th at 5 p.m. January 27th is the last day for public hearings on ordinances containing ballot propositions. March 8th is the last day for voter registration. I think in the intervening time, there's going to be some stuff at the school district for registering seniors to vote, or 18-year-olds to vote. And then ballot packages will be mailed on March 17th. And the drop boxes will be opened at that time as well. April 7th is election day, so 8 p.m. is when those ballots need to be in. And then April 23rd is tentatively when we're having the election commission and public session of Canvas. And then we certify the election on Tuesday, April 28th. If anybody has any election questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or the election team.
Any questions for the clerk on that? Any other elements for a report, Madam Clerk? Anything else? Anything else? No. All right, thank you. To council.
Now I feel the need to say something remarkably clever. We don't have anything significant to report.
I have some projects for you.
Joy.
So then we'll pivot to the ombudsman.
Thank you, Chris. We're plugging away in the ombudsman's office. Our numbers for last year are actually going to be down probably 100 contacts. And there's two primary reasons for that. And I'm glad the mayor's sitting next to me. One was we didn't get a winter, and we didn't get a lot of snowfall at the beginning of this winter. So that's about 150 complaints we didn't receive. And the other major reason is the lack of employee complaints. Our employee complaints in 2025 were down nearly 100%. I would be surprised if we had 4 or 5 employee complaints in 2025, Madam Mayor. It's nice. It's nice to not get those complaints from employees. Looking forward to this year, our office is going to proactively be doing more community outreach and engagement. We want to do more presentations to community organizations, be present at more community events. We're going to be at the League of Women Voters Democracy Fair this Saturday at the LUSAC from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. With outreach and community engagement, communications being one of our primary areas of focus for this year. Drew Ford, our associate ombudsman, was promoted to deputy ombudsman. So now there are 2 deputies with different focus areas. So Heather McAlpine continues to be our deputy, and her primary focus is investigations, and Drew's primary focus is communications and public outreach and engagement. With all 3 of us are doing investigations. So we're going to try to shake things up a little bit, try to let the public know that we're here to help them, and hopefully we can get more people who need our services to take advantage of those services.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Next then we'll have legislative services.
Thank you, Chair. I will be giving the report for Legislative Services. Claire is working remotely. She's helping her dad recover from surgery, and he's doing really well. So a few accomplishments to highlight in civic education and communications. We handed off the Cheers Anchorage website, progress reporting and education campaign to the administration. We've been supporting members with the some members with Fiscal Futures outreach and presentations. The pre-approved ADU website has launched, and the plans are going to be on there very soon, so that's exciting. We coordinated the meeting and presentation of the 2026 legislative priorities with Anchorage state legislators, which went well. We worked with the mayor's chief of staff to organize a half-day tour for the assembly youth reps, and they got to meet with the mayor, the chief of staff, chief administrative officer, OMB director, and deputy municipal manager. That was a really great experience for them, so we thank you guys for doing that. Lastly, the updated Assembly 2026 work plan. You're going to go over that really soon, and then it will be submitted for approval at a February meeting. Coming up, we have MOA 101 presentation at the League of Women Voters Civics Fair, and thank you to Member Baldwin Day for stepping in to help with that. We'll be issuing a report on civic engagement research project and also working with property appraisal and treasury to issue articles on how the MOA property and other taxes currently work. That's part of our MOA 50 and Physical Future education campaign. And then lastly, we're prepping for 2026 new member orientation, and your feedback is always welcome on that, especially the members that we recently onboarded in 2025. That's it. Thank you.
All right, any questions? Nope. Okay, then we'll move on to the first item of new business on our agenda. That's the annual work plan finalization and the committee review. That's listed for Claire. Are you taking care of that, Jennifer?
I'll be jumping in on that one.
Okay.
Look at us. We're working as a team. All right. Claire has been hard at work transcribing all of your work, closing out the 2025 work plan, your accomplishments from the last year, and setting forth your 2026 priorities based on previous conversations at the last few rules committee meetings. So what you have in front of you is a draft final version in the format of the 2026 work plan. As a reminder, this covers your 2026 priorities, your 2026 projects, and those are things that as a body, you're supportive of your colleagues working on and using, some staff support to work on, regardless of how you feel about the project itself. And then it also covers your 2025 accomplishments, which is a really handy piece of communications collateral for our work, reflecting on the year that you had and preparing, for example, the annual progress report to the Assembly or to the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce. So super handy document, and this is your last opportunity to share feedback before it is packaged and submitted for your adoption. Of course, you do have the option, as always, to make amendments on the floor, and we like to get ahead of that if possible. So any edits to the work plan? This is the same document that Claire sent on Friday last week. This one. Yep.
And I'll just note, Chris stepped out of the room for a moment, so if folks want to get in the queue, just text me till he gets back or raise your hand. Daniel.
Thank you. I'll just say, let's finalize it. I feel like we've kind of really beat this one to a pulp, and there's some good stuff on here. So would love to just, finalize this and move on.
Great. I think one of the things that Claire has done a really good job of incorporating the work plan into your monthly rules committee meetings. So we've had lots of opportunity to chew on it, to add to it. And so it doesn't feel as much of a hurdle at the end of the year to get everything compiled because it's all stuff that you all have been working on. Great. If there are no further comments on the formatted draft for the 2026 progress report and work plan.
Just checking. Yeah, I guess I'll make one other comment as well. I know there was a lot of discussion about this document versus the more detailed work plan.
Yeah.
So just want to note, thank you again for kind of keeping this one high level. As you'll see, it doesn't relate to a bunch of specific ordinance numbers, but it's really looking at that big picture because sometimes things take multiple ordinances or maybe they're not an ordinance. And so anyway, so I know there's also ongoing discussion about kind of the detailed document and making sure that's accurate and reflects what folks want, but just to keep that kind of conceptually separate from this. So yeah, and I don't have any others contacting me, so I think we're good.
Sweet. Then let's take a conceptual transition into the details. We can now look at the detailed 2026 work plan. And this is the document where we track who's working on what ordinance relate to these project goals, and help keep this as an ongoing status report. Seeing that there were no other additions to the formatted document, I think if you have additions to this one, then we'll incorporate it into the formatted document. But what I'd like to do today is spend some time reviewing the column that says lead, where we'll jot down your initials if you are planning on working on something. And I think at this point, it's either in the ideation phase or in the, yep, I'm drafting it, I'm moving it, I've got plans in the works.
So we can go through each section. There are only 4, starting with housing action projects. These relate to the housing action plan and to, there's a lot of overlap with the housing action plan and the mayor's strategy. So already, Erin is working with Claire on the pre-approved ADU program. DB, I think that's supposed to be DV. Yeah, that's great. We'll make it a correction there. But as Jennifer reported, that's moving along nicely and should be one that you can check off the list pretty soon this year. Identifying revenue for housing and infrastructure.
You can throw me
Nice.
on it, already doing it.
Love it. Communicating to the public on progress towards the housing goals and addressing homelessness, including improving and promoting the housing dashboard. Anna's gonna be listed
Yeah.
on that one.
Oh no, yeah, for HA 3, 4, and 7, I see those as very related. I mean, they are distinct, so we should just combine them. But you could put my name near all of them,
Great.
those 3.
2, 3, 7, 8. I have one more to add that's related to 6, but not exactly that.
Okay.
I think that command is called autofill.
Might as well.
Just to confirm, member Baldwin Day, 2, 3, 7, 8.
I mean, honestly, you can probably just stick me on, stick me on all of them. I have a finger in all of these guys right now, so.
1 through 7.
Yeah, 1 through 7. Oh, and, well, and also.
Oh, 8. Sorry.
Yeah.
And 9, yeah, just autofill that thing, that's nice. All the housing.
And member Brawley, 3, 4, 7.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Anything else for housing action projects? Yeah.
I guess one, not to add too much to this, but what I'm not seeing here is kind of a category related to process improvements. And so I would propose putting that, and then I've got kind of multiple little pieces of that in the works. And I know some of it is the department itself anyway, so I think that's one that's kind of separate from these other pieces that we should put in there.
What are you defining as process improvements?
I would think of things like permitting process, things like discretionary review, the Urban Design Commission work. So things that have to do with the process of approval.
Okay.
Feel like related, but not exactly to number 6.
Nice.
And a lot of stuff.
Any final comments on housing action? With that, we'll move on to the next section, which is homelessness projects relating to the Housing and Homelessness Committee. We have a number of departments listed there. There are, yes, it's the 6 that you see on this page are those listed under homelessness.
Erin, do you have a comment?
There's something that I have heard conversation about that I don't actually see on this page, which is actually the inverse of H3, or sorry, excuse me, H4. I've heard some dialogue around actually prioritizing services for those who are most recently unhoused, because those folks are the easiest to rehouse. And I've heard chatter, but I don't know if there's anyone who's actually taking the lead on that. And so I just wanted to throw that out. That's not something I'm personally working on, but it is something that I have heard discussed that's missing from this list.
Okay, other members wanting to put your name here, make some changes?
Great. I also recognize that there are a number of members who obviously aren't with us here today, and so they will have the opportunity to add their initials or stake a claim to some of these projects via email. Let's move on to the next section, good government and assembly business. So you'll see two types of coding in this section, GG for good government and AB for assembly business, going on to the following page.
Okay, comments from members on this one?
Go ahead, Erin.
Sorry, go ahead, Erin.
You can add me as lead on 1 through 6, GG 1 through 6.
Through 6. Nice.
Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, and then you can put me on GG2 and GG8 and GG. No, I don't want to commit that much. If I want to do it, I'll do it. If I don't, I won't.
And this is Anna. I would do GG 2, 6. I think I was on 9. And 7. And other members want to jump in?
As I look at the AB cluster on the following page, I'll highlight that AB3 is to explore a new model for assembly aids. For those of you who, the assembly aid contracts run for your term. So if you or anybody that you know is looking to transition aids or make a change this spring, please contact Matthew Farina so that he can process those. And it's also worth noting that if you are running for reelection and you are reelected, then that's also a stopping point of that aid contract, but that's how they run.
Oh, Erin.
So AB1 feels really, really big. How is that? Are there some specifics as to how that's being envisioned? I mean, continuing to steward the Assembly's primary responsibilities feels like all of our work. So
I do think it's especially pertinent this year as a number of long-term members are terming off of the body. I specifically think about Chris's work championing the elections process and thinking about what does the transition of that stewardship look like.
Other members? I'll jump in. Yeah, you can put my name next to these 4 items, or actually maybe not on 2, because it is not a certain thing that I'm here after April. And so, but 1, 3, and 4. And Erin makes a good point that this is one of our cores, but I think it is important to keep emphasizing as we look at all the other things that we want to do, that we keep in mind the things that we have to do. And so, so acknowledging that is very general wording, but I think also given where we are, it is worth noting. And then I would also suggest we edit and just say ensure a smooth transition with new members coming on board, because it certainly is a new class, but because there are 6 seats every cycle, essentially, the assembly cycle, then it could always be a large class. So I don't think it's worth characterizing in that way, other than just we should be doing that every year anyway. Okay, other members, and Yarrow and anyone else who's on the phone, I would say please jump in if I miss your text or if you're trying to get in the queue. Okay. Yeah, this document should be in our emails, I believe.
Yeah, it was emailed. Can you put your mic on? Yeah, this document is in your emails, and I'll follow up with the clerk's office to make sure it gets posted online as well.
And just to be clear, I think, did it come from Claire or did it? Okay.
It did. It came from Claire.
Okay, yeah, look for email last Friday from Claire for members. Okay, other comments on this section? Not seeing any at the moment.
This next section is a big one, public health, safety, and quality of life projects. So you'll see it goes across 3 different pages.
Okay, member comments on that?
Yeah.
On, looking to the next page, PH 11, please put my name there. And I will be so bold as to say, we should put Felix and Cameron's names as well, because it relates to the work that we were doing.
Go ahead. Ms. Boldenday.
I think PH1 actually connects to GG3 also. And then I would like to be included on PH2, 6, and 14. And 13. Yes. 2, 6, 13, and 14. And if PH 16 includes consuming and producing, I'm not quite clear on that, but I am working on expanding grocery access along the Tudor corridor. So I don't know if that fits under that bucket, but if it does, I don't know that I would call myself the lead, but I'm just in that very specific geographic location. I'm looking for solutions.
Jared.
Yeah, thanks. You can put me on PH 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then Cameron and I are actually already working on something for PH 8, so you could probably put him there too. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn.
You're fine. Anna.
Yeah, thanks. Just a couple more for me. Can you add me to 15 wildfire safety and then 16 the food policy? And just to note, I think consuming and producing meant both for sales of food and people eating the food as well as producing the food. That's kind of the idea, is making sure that it's broad.
Okay. Anything else? Next.
The last section is energy, infrastructure, and transportation.
Since he's not here, let's put Zach on everything. Anna.
Yeah, I'd like to be listed for IT 1, 4, 5. Sorry, I'm just looking real quick. And then there's 2 IT 6s, but maybe the second IT 6, if those are supposed to be numbered separately. Yeah, I think that's good for now.
Aaron.
You can add me to IT 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, and 11.
Others? Okay.
So if there are no other comments, no other initials to add, no other projects to add, then that concludes our check-in on the 2026 progress report. You will see this come back. Claire's next step is going to be incorporating the feedback from today and then also sending to the administration to see where they're intersecting on these projects. So thank you all very much.
Okay, next up is Assembly Annual Committee Review, actually. We'll start with Ellie as well, I think. Just to start, right? No, is us, okay. So I don't have the committee list in front of us, I don't think. Do we? So that's okay. The committee conversation, and we don't really need to do this right now. But we have a little bit of time to discuss the committees and if it's working or not. I know we've had the discussion about less is more, and that's an ongoing tension. We want to have fewer meetings. And so how do we do that and still conduct our oversight and do our work to be able to understand legislation and have a liaising process with members of the administration? And so the conversation is on the agenda, but again, we don't have the list, and maybe it's not quite ripe to discuss where we should go. And it might be a conversation for the next leadership that comes after certification in the next assembly. And so with that though, I was told last 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, I don't know, a long time ago, that there's a leadership change proposal for the Housing and Homelessness Committee. Is that right? And so, which would be to move Jared to serve as the co-chair, vice chair of that committee. And there's some discussions about reorganizing AMATs, but we're not quite there. Just of workload and responsibilities, who is in leadership and has opportunities to participate. So I don't have any other proposed changes or conversations happening, but I had hoped that we could sit down and kind of just finalize those for today, but we haven't. But I haven't heard any objections on the public safety, mixed to the housing and homelessness one. And so I think that one we can just go ahead and affirm. So I think we'll table the conversation about the committee review till there's enough people or a new assembly and more interest in kind of looking at that. Again, I recognize, as we all do, there's too many meetings and we would love to streamline them, but I think we've done a good job of getting as narrow and skinny as we can in the project to streamline the committees and yet still have a place. So, okay, then this meeting could be a quick one. Anna?
Just one quick thing too, I know we're not a full group, but to mention, in terms of calendaring, especially since we're in the new year, sometimes, we have our regular meetings that end up on holidays or just, some conflict. So I would also urge folks who are in leadership positions, or even if you're not, if you see a schedule conflict, it's easier to move it now than to try to do it 2 days beforehand. And so just a flag for the new year, because I know we had that in the fall, there was some kind of conflict. So just a reminder. Thanks.
Yes. So I think that concludes that part of the agenda for now. We'll bring that back maybe in May. But for now, it feels like we're pretty stable. We're recognizing, again, the intent is to limit. So, okay, next up is briefings on individual members, pending business, and updates from committees. So, Mr. Rivera. Felix.
Thanks, Chris. Don't have much of an update today. Thanks.
Aaron.
I don't think I have anything new. Welcome to 2026, everybody.
I
Jared.
also don't have anything too exciting to talk about.
Okay, Daniel.
No update.
Anna.
I have just a couple of brief updates of things that will go on they'll be on the agenda now or soon. One is just a quick update on the Urban Design Commission, UDC, extension / repeal. So that was one that the body extended the sunset date of it till end of February next month. And with the intent that I am working with the planning department to bring forward a ordinance for the consideration to permanently repeal that and have its functions go mostly to planning and zoning commission, because we need to sort that out. So anyway, that is still in process. That is a discussion for another time. But in the meantime, we're going to need more than February. And so rather than leaving folks who might need to go to UDC in limbo, I have an ordinance coming on the addendum that just extends that sunset date 90 days to the end of May. So that should hopefully give some time. And then in the meantime, that other ordinance would come forward, but that way we're not jammed up, with folks getting stuck if they have projects. Another one on the addendum that I'll have for introduction is proposing not for this cycle, but starting in 2027, a review process for CASA. And essentially what it would do is expand the scope of what we have currently as our Parks and Rec Service Area Commission. So it's not a service area board, it's an advisory board, but it's only technically related to the Parks and Rec Service Area, which is smaller. And so what this would do is expand Parks and Rec and allow for them to also review the CASA CIP, similar to how Planning and Zoning Commission currently looks at the CIP and makes recommendations. So they're not an approval body, but it's part of that process. Anyway, all of that will be in an ordinance for introduction. It'll come back to the body in March, and in the meantime, we'll go to that Parks and Rec Commission for discussion, because I'm genuinely curious. Does this make sense to them? Is this something that would make sense in their purview? So anyway, more discussion there, but it's coming on the addendum. And then lastly, I'll just say I have in the works some process improvements to Title 21 that all of which are going to go to Planning and Zoning Commission for discussion and consideration. They aren't ready yet, but I'm contemplating putting them as a package and moving them forward there. So more on that to come. Just wanted to preview that that's where I'm thinking right now. Thank you.
Yarrow. Are you there, Yarrow? So I would just note that she and I have a project that you guys have seen before. It's the Public Records AO. And it was intended to be introduced this week on the agenda, but the attorneys have asked for one more 2-week interim before introduction. And I told them basically, I'm going to introduce it myself by the next meeting if it doesn't have their blessing. And so one more 2-week period. And for members' knowledge, the first record that I have internally for that project, it started officially in November of 2023. And so it is a long, deep dive into that section of the code. And so we're getting really close. And you saw it on the agenda a number of times. And so just FYI, this is a long-term project. So separately, before April 28th, there's likely going to be a difficult conversation about a downtown bar coming before the assembly. And so for assembly members, that means it's going to be spicy conversations. For attorneys and clerks, it means some work on process and making sure what we do is in alignment. And so I won't get specific at this time. I think anyone who's been paying attention to the news could draw their own conclusions. And so, and it's not done lightly. Separately, there's a marijuana code omnibus update that Dean will be ready to introduce on the 23rd, period, and full stop. It too is a multi-year effort to fix some of the things that have been challenging, to create a little bit more flexibility for the licensees. And so that's coming. Now, I have in the open records, the public records AO, an amendment that's going to be added. It might not be an amendment. It might be in the introduced version because we don't have a version yet that aims to fix a problem that has recurred a number of times in the last 3 years. We've been working with Vera, who provides health screenings for a variety of municipal employees. And the fire department, they have an interesting position in this. They have found candidates for employment aren't eligible because they have filled the physical, but then told the candidate they can't have the record because the record belongs to the municipality who pays for the contract. But then when the muni asks for the record, they say it's a health record of the individual, so they can't provide it to the muni. And so I'm going to make a law that essentially says a subject of a health screening has a right to their record. It doesn't create it as a public record. No one wants their health records to be public, but that they have a right to access their own damn health records. And so that's coming forward as a sub item. And then another thing tied to that as a separate ordinance, because it doesn't quite fit under the records one, is that when a candidate is found to be ineligible because of a health screening, Vera will not be the last say, the contractor, but instead I'm proposing to make it the chief medical officer of the fire department who can review the record for accuracy and affirm it or remand it or come up with an alternative proposal. And so essentially it would have a skilled medical professional as a second look at the record. And so that's a conversation coming to a dais near you pretty soon. For my part, that's all that I have this week, but no promises on other stuff. So that's my list. Anyone else?
May I take a moment?
Go ahead.
Great. I guess we'll share some personal life news. I'm expecting. So I'm due in June. Yay! And it also means that as Legislative Services plans our work plan for 2026, my parental leave is a part of that picture. And so I think the timing works well. It'll be a state of transition with some new members coming on board, and summertime is, I think, a great time to maternity leave. Fantastic. And we're super excited. And yeah, things are going really well.
So Eva, you want to come and tell us why you're proud this week? Since you're here and we have a little time.
So in our department, we've been working really hard on cross-training to make sure that when, somebody leaves or a department is, a section is short-staffed, we don't stop functioning. So one of the things we've been doing is building some cross-training between civil and criminal so that when prosecution is short-staffed, we have civil attorneys who can come in and cover trials so we don't have to dismiss cases. And so we had 3 of our civil attorneys this week did 2 misdemeanor trials between the 3 of them and just got guilty verdicts in both of them. So I'm feeling very proud, both of like the successful cross-training and providing backup where needed. And also, of course, they won their cases. So anyway, that was Joe Busa, Kate Vogel, and Nick Mendolia. Plus Hannah Anderson, one of our prosecutors, tag teamed with Joe. And then
So-
of course there were prosecutors out there doing their own thing as well, but.
And
we're
that
always proud
goes,
of them.
to that graph that we had that was so many dismissals based on the courts being closed, based on timelines, based on us not having prosecutors in any number of scenarios where that number has crashed to a very small number now. And so just that's a report for you that it's working. Thank you. Anna?
I have a very, Eva, I have a very basic question for you. Oh, if you can. I'm just curious. So you were mentioning cross-training and working in civil and criminal, and I know those are basically 2 sets of practice. Is there, so essentially attorneys can practice across, I mean, obviously it depends on their experience and all those things, but there's no kind of criminal-only lawyer or civil-only lawyer in terms, other than they're specializing in those areas.
We do have separate divisions. So there's the civil division, which is, funded, and those people are civil attorneys. And we have our criminal division, and they're divided. One is on the 2nd floor, one is on the 7th floor. So they are distinct. And I think historically there has not been overlap. Sometimes somebody will transfer from one division to another. But I don't think historically there's been much, covering criminal trials by civil attorneys. I could be wrong. I know in recent years it hasn't been a thing. But no,
and
they are pretty distinct.
Just to clarify, I was wondering more from a licensing perspective, like are there
Oh.
things where you're not allowed to do if you haven't gotten certain?
No,
Whatever.
I mean, you have
Okay.
a duty of diligence and competence. So I would say if you really don't know what you're doing, like we would let you in the courtroom on a case, but no, there's no licensing difference there as long as you are diligent and competent.
Thank you for
We
indulging
did
my non-lawyer
train
question.
people to do this.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Aaron. Oh, separate. So Eva, thank you for attending these meetings. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, just one final thing to share. Anna and I hosted an online version of the Our Muni, Our Budget public dialogue earlier this week, and we had 44 people. Huge thanks to Ledge Services for all of the behind the scenes backup on that. 44 folks who showed up for an hour and a half on a Tuesday evening to talk about the municipal budget and how, sort of how the machinery works. We have another of those coming up in person on January the 22nd. That will be in person at the Mountain View Community Center. Food, childcare provided, really trying to make this as accessible as possible so that we can get more community members educated about sort of the fiscal reality that we are facing together as a municipality, and hopefully equip people with better information to make decisions about things like revenue and service levels. So would really appreciate our colleagues' support in turning people out to those events. If there's anybody who wants to tap in, we have a slide deck built, we have talking points, and would welcome collaboration from other members who might be interested in doing some similar things. So let us know. And I think based on the response, we're probably going to continue to do these. So if you have some suggestions or preferred locations of spots in town that you think we ought to go and take the show on the road, please let us know. All right, thanks.
Okay, other matters? Anyone? Okay, well, I imagine the agenda is going to start to pack up. So these meetings are going to become more frequent and, or not these, but just generally speaking, all of our meetings through getting things on the ballot and towards the budget amendments. And otherwise, welcome back. Let us have a good collegial year of doing the diligent work that needs doing as we come to the decisions of the municipality. So thank you, everybody. We'll stand in adjournment at 2:00. Metal chair?
Gonna bring a metal chair. I don't care about